Okay, let's talk about becoming more present. And when I say more present, I mean more in the moment, more in the here and now. This is something that animals do. This is something that kids do, but it's something that we seem to grow out of during our teenage years. Now, how can you do this? How can you become more present? Well, one method is to start focusing on your body and on your senses a little bit more. The sad truth is that most of us are so in our own heads that we barely notice half of what's going on around us. We walk in a dream state, worrying about work or about our relationships, and we hardly take the time to stop and smell the roses, either literally or metaphorically. So try this right now. Pause this video and just start to notice the sounds around you. And I mean, really listen. Okay, just hit the pause button right now and listen for a few minutes and then come back and hit the play button again. Please do this for me right now. Okay, what did you hear? Well, if you're in a town or city, there's a good chance that you heard traffic rumbling by on the street, car horn sounding, maybe a police siren. You probably heard tires squealing, rumbling, that sort of thing. If you're doing this at work, if you're in an office, then you'll probably hear, a hum of conversation in the background. You might hear phones ringing. You'll hear the sound of people clicking their fingers on a keyboard and on a computer and that sort of thing. You'll probably hear doors opening and closing. Maybe the hum of the air conditioning if you're in an air-conditioned office, that sort of thing. If you're doing this at home and your home is attached to another one, say you live in an apartment or a terraced house or a row house as they're called in some places, then you might hear sounds coming from next door. Or if there are other people at home with you, you might hear noises coming from another room. So you might hear the TV or you might hear the radio or people talking or a baby crying. You may well hear a clock ticking, that sort of thing. Or if you've got a window open or if you're outdoors, then you may hear a bird singing or chirping or a pigeon cooing or something like that. All sorts of things that you might not have noticed before. And you could probably smell a whole load of things that you hadn't noticed too. And if you took a moment to feel your own body, you probably noticed the sensation of the seat pushing into your legs and into your buttocks. Maybe you could feel the blood filling your face and making you feel hot. Now, listen to the sound of your own breathing and feel your abdomen expand and shrink as you do so. Try doing this when you're outside. You'll certainly notice the wind. What direction is it blowing? What smells are being blown in? Doing this when you're walking down the street in a town or city is something else. You'll be amazed at what you notice. Different designs in the architecture of the buildings, shop window displays, cars and street furniture. Even if you've walked this same street for years, you're bound to notice something different, yet something that you haven't seen before. You'll overhear snippets of conversations, especially from people who are talking on their phones. You'll feel the hard surface of the pavement or sidewalk, and you'll really feel connected with the here and now. In the country, you'll notice the fresh wind on your face. You'll smell the flowers and the plants. You'll hear the birds singing and so much more. Once you do all this, you'll find that you stop worrying about what's going on in your life and you'll start to appreciate the here and now a little more. There's so much that you normally miss. Another way to use this is to be more present in conversation, using these techniques in conversation. And when you turn off the internal monologue and really listen to what the other person is saying, you'll find that your relationships improve tremendously. Friendships will become deeper because everyone appreciates a good listener. Not just that, but when you take the time to pay attention to people's body language and the tone and inflection of their voice, you'll easily be able to figure out what they're really saying, which isn't always expressed in words. And this can apply to every conversation, in business, with your spouse, with your kids, with neighbors, every time you talk to someone. And this is what so many of us don't do. So many of us are constantly in a dream state and worrying about other things that we actually miss what's going on around us. So turn off the internal chatter and tune into what's really happening, and you'll find that life will improve dramatically.